Well, I think Putin's, whether you want to say he's good or bad, I think he's very effective at his job. I think he does. I mean, the guy's been doing it for how long?
Well, that's because he changed.
No matter how corrupt it is.
Changed.
Or whatever.
Yeah, he changed the goalposts over and over again.
Right,
he's not. The people. The really interesting thing about Russia that David can talk a lot about because he's lived among the people for so long is their psychology. They are a different breed, and they're molded by their environment. They're molded by over 100 years of. It's in some cases the worst corruption imaginable. I mean, we don't seem to say this enough, but like Joseph Stalin was. I mean, he was as bad as Hitler in many ways.
Right.
Maybe not quite all, but like the closest thing.
For sure.
And like we forget that. You know, these people lived through awful shit.
And
so
they have statues of him everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think they've gotten rid of a lot of them, but they probably
have
still. I think so, but they probably still have some. But like these people, they will believe opposite thing. They will say one thing and then say a thing that directly contradicts that and not think anything of it. And that, but like they will say, David told me this. He's like, they'll say the government is all corrupt, and the next thing out of their mouth will be, you'll ask them about a current issue, and they'll be like, I don't know, but the government definitely knows, so we'll let them deal with it. Like they are very, and it's not their fault. They're just, you know, they're the hardened people who pour out the vodka and sit in the ice bath in the middle of the tundra and say, I wash my bowls with this.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Like they believe that it's going to be bad no matter what. So you might as well just suck it up and keep going. And like you got to remember when the communism fell in 90 or 91, whatever it was, you know, the rapid privatization that the government basically just allowed was corrupt people, right time, gave them all the control, the oligarchs. And so you want to talk about a wealth gap, all the wealth went to this small group of individuals. And then the way that those individuals bought protection, if they weren't already a part of it themselves, was organized crime, which then went through the roof. And like you talked to the one guy I knew who I'd like to have on the podcast again, Jules Bonavolanta. He was one of the main FBI organized crime guys during the height of the Italian-American mafia, like 70s, 80s, 90s. He invented Donnie Brasco. That was his idea. And he told me this over a decade ago when I was young and talking with him. He's like, you know, the Italians at this point, we kind of know what we're getting. Gambling, prostitution, occasionally they'll whack a guy. It's like controllable. But he's like, the Russians are some wild shit, man. They don't give it. That like you don't find the body, you find the finger, and then you find a piece of a toe, and like a weird ice box and some acid. Like it's some next level shit. And these people, you know, that's the worst example, but
like Russian mafia over here.
Oh yeah. And you know, they're all tied back to there, but like they're molded by an environment that has no hope. Right. They're molded by an environment where this is the only way we make money. Right. We kill. You don't like it, fuck off.
Italians, at least they got to be home in time for dinner.
Yeah. And those guys, don't get me wrong, they're psychos and they don't feel much, but they feel maybe a little. You know, the Russians are like, it's like Eastern Promises. They're fucking chopping the guy out with a cigarette in their mouth. Like,
there's just no hope.
You know, yeah.
Wow.
But that's it. Like they have been fucked up because the way Soviets came to power, they were fucked up. The czars had all the power. No one had any money. It's a weird environment. It's still rural as fuck. It's cold. People are miserable. You know. And then the Soviet Union happened. We know how that turned out. Yeah. And then this happened. Oh, democracy. No. You know, can you Google the 2020 Russian Constitution changes? Just toss this one right in there during COVID. It's right under the books. So
in Russia?
Yeah. This is how Putin. This is why. He consolidated power before doing anything like this. And, I mean, genius political move. But, you know, he had to leave office in 2008 because presidents can only serve 2 terms in the new constitution. So he puts Medvedev in there, he becomes prime minister, Medvedev president. And then amendments to the constitution. Yeah. So if you go down, Proposed amendments. Yeah, let's start there. See that?
Down, down. Proposed amendments.
No, it's like
the very bottom.
The big text, the bottom of the screen. Yeah, yeah. So go to the list, if you don't mind. Down.
Very bottom.
Right there? Yep. All right. So where is...
The Russian Constitution will supersede international law.
Yeah, go down to proposed adoption without a referendum. Where was the thing? Basically, I don't know if this is the right page.
I can keep looking.
But
Keep looking. Find something juicy.
Putin removed term limits. It's gone.
In 2020?
Yeah. So now he can be president forever. Because he was coming up on, I guess, like 12 years or something in 2024. I think there was going to be something. Or maybe it was 2020, and he was removing it ahead of the election. So he allowed it to happen. He also wrote in that in order to become president in Russia, you had to have only lived here for the last 25 years, and you cannot have ever held any foreign resident status. So you can't have a passport anywhere else or have a home anywhere else.
Right.
Which rules out every single oligarch. So anyone with even a modicum of power in the country cannot seize power. So now people are talking about, well, who could take over? The only way that someone would take over would be a straight-up coup where they rip up the Constitution, which is going to cause an uprising in the country, which would be disastrous. But, whatever. And also, even if the oligarchs replace them, all these guys are dirty in some way.
Mm-hmm.
They're like...
Yeah, that's the thing. If
who replaces them?
Right. And would it be better?
It would probably be better.
Really?
Because, he's bad. I mean, he's just he's a bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
But minimally.
Right.
You even notice it's better.
Right.
They're still going to have the same complaints. Oh, Ukraine, they have things on the border.
Yeah.
Maybe we go in. All right, maybe they don't do it as brazen and as dumb. And this, usually Putin hasn't been dumb, but this was dumb, like how he did this one. But, they probably still do it. I mean, it's hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But, they still, it's their country. It's their land. They're passionate about it. And if they're not necessarily a good person and they're not beholden to the rights of the individual people in their country because they can do whatever the fuck they want, they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the propaganda exists, and that's why even in an interview like Oliver Stone's, he's controlling tacitly what he's being asked. He knows.
Yeah,
so he knows he can use that answer.
You can't make that happen without having all those questions screened beforehand.
So it's like a lot of journalists, I'm sure, I haven't seen an instance of this, but maybe someone talked about it at some point. I'm sure a lot of journalists have had an opportunity to go there, but haven't taken it because they know, they're told, well, here's how it works. They go, fuck that.
Right.
We're in a country where Jim Acosta and Peter Doocy can exist. Right? I'm just giving the example of the two sides with an opposite party of choice in office, and they can just make a scene. That doesn't happen in Russia. You don't hear from that person ever again.
No,
they're gone. Anna Politkovskaya, we'll never get this name right. Anna Politkovskaya. She was a journalist there, murdered in her home.
Really?
Yeah, she wrote against Putin. Boris Nemtsov, the opposition leader, murdered literally right next to the Kremlin. Have it on video. Boris Nemtsov's successor, Alexei Navalny, in prison.